The story opens on a rugged Irish coastline where the wild sea meets craggy cliffs and the skies are an ever-changing canvas of gray and silver. Imagine a place where the waves crash against ancient rocks with a timeless fury. The sound of the surf, a constant reminder of nature's untamable power. In the distance, the lighthouse stands solitary against the storm. Its white walls glow faintly as the light sweeps across the dark waters. The wind whistles through the hollows of the cliffs and carries with it the ancient songs of the land. You can almost hear the echoes of old legends that speak of brave souls and mysterious forces that have long guarded this edge of the world. In this realm, the rain falls in a steady, mesmerizing rhythm, tapping on the window panes of the lighthouse and mingling with the murmurs of the sea. The skies are filled with drifting clouds that seem to hold centuries of secrets. Every gust of wind tells a story, and every ripple in the ocean reveals a hidden truth. The light from the lighthouse cuts through the gloom, a steadfast beacon that has seen countless storms and silent nights. Its beam dances over the turbulent waters and illuminates the jagged coastline. There is a quality of solitude in this scene that is both haunting and beautiful. The ocean is not just a body of water here. It is a living, breathing character that moves with purpose and passion. Picture yourself standing on a narrow path that leads to the base of the lighthouse. The air is crisp and carries the tang of salt and earth. The sound of the waves is a constant companion, a low, soothing murmur that drowns out all other concerns. The sky above is vast and heavy with promise, and as you look out, you see the horizon where the sea meets the sky in a delicate embrace. The winds stir your thoughts and invite you to ponder the mysteries of existence. There is an undeniable power in the way the natural world commands attention, drawing your focus to the raw beauty that surrounds you. Every element of this setting speaks to the passage of time and the endurance of hope. The ancient cliffs hold the scars of countless storms, while the lighthouse remains a symbol of unwavering commitment. Its light is a gentle reminder that even in the midst of turmoil, there is a sanctuary of clarity and purpose. The landscape is both majestic and melancholic, a place where the forces of nature and human determination meet. The sound of seagulls overhead and the distant calls of other sea creatures add layers to the symphony of nature that envelops this isolated haven. As the scene unfolds, the viewer is invited to immerse in the profound solitude that defines the Irish coast. The narrative draws you into the life of this place where every sunrise brings a promise and every sunset whispers of mysteries yet to be revealed. The cool, misty air mingles with the light of the setting sun, creating an interplay of shadow and brilliance. In this moment, time seems to slow down, urging you to pause and reflect on the interplay between duty and desire, isolation and connection. The very elements of the coast work together to weave a tapestry of both raw power and gentle reassurance. Here in this stormy haven, the lighthouse is not just a building but a living monument to the art of perseverance. It has witnessed the relentless march of the seasons, the rise and fall of tides, and the relentless energy of storms that test the strength of both nature and those who reside within its glow. This place is steeped in a sense of history that is palpable in every gust of wind and every flash of lightning across the darkened sky. The solitude of the lighthouse mirrors the deep introspection of the solitary keeper who tends to it. The scene is set for a tale that will unfold with the passion of ancient lore and the quiet dignity of a life devoted to a higher calling. Let the rich imagery of the stormy coast carry you into a state of calm reflection as you become aware of the beauty that lies in solitude and the resilience of those who choose to stand guard against the elements. The stage is now set for a story that will weave together the threads of isolation and community, duty and personal longing, in a place where the harsh winds and the soft glow of the lighthouse light the path toward redemption. In this moment, every detail of the setting is a silent promise that even the most tumultuous nights can give way to a dawn filled with hope and clarity. In a modest cottage near the towering beacon stands the solitary keeper, whose life has been devoted entirely to the unyielding call of the sea. Imagine a man whose weathered face tells tales of relentless storms and whose eyes mirror the depths of the tumultuous ocean. Every morning he rises before the sun and tends to the intricate machinery of the lighthouse with a quiet precision that borders on ritual. His movements are deliberate and measured, as if each action carries the weight of 1,000 memories. The air around him is filled with the soft clatter of tools and the rhythmic pulse of the sea, which together compose a lullaby of duty and resilience. Visualize him as he slowly makes his way up the spiral staircase, the worn steps echoing under his steady footfalls. The walls of the lighthouse hold the faint markings of past generations, inscribed by those who have shared this solitary burden before him. His every step is a reminder of a commitment that transcends the mundane, a commitment that links him to a legacy of keepers who have weathered storms and darkness. With every turn of the key and every flick of a switch, he becomes both guardian and witness to the raw beauty and unyielding ferocity of nature. Now, picture the keeper in the quiet hours of early twilight, when the boundary between day and night blurs into a tapestry of soft light and gentle shadow. In these moments, his thoughts drift to the lives he has sheltered, the souls who have found guidance in the beacon he maintains with unwavering devotion. There is a deep solitude in his work, a silence punctuated only by the distant roar of the waves and the occasional cry of a seagull. This solitude is not entirely his own. It is shared with the lighthouse that stands as both his fortress and his confessional. As the day unfolds, the keeper finds solace in the small rituals that define his existence. He sits by a weathered wooden desk and writes down his observations of the ever-changing skies and restless sea. Each entry in his logbook is a poem of duty and honor, a testament to the enduring power of hope amidst adversity. The gentle scratch of his pen on paper echoes in the stillness of the room, merging with the sound of wind and rain to create a symphony that celebrates both isolation and purpose. There is a quiet pride in his work, a sense of belonging to a world where every beam of light cast into the darkness has meaning, and every flicker is a reminder that even in the heart of a storm, guidance can be found. His face, though marked by years of solitude and hardship, occasionally softens when he thinks of the distant village. In his mind, the villagers are not mere distractions from his sacred duty, but living testaments to the impact of his careful watch over the restless sea. Their lives, intertwined with the light that he keeps burning through the darkest nights, are a quiet celebration of human connection and perseverance. In the cool embrace of the evening, as the storm gathers and the heavens open up with a fierce display of nature's might, the keeper stands at the very top of the lighthouse. He gazes out over the churning waters and listens to the wind as it sings through the crevices of the stone cliffs. In this solitary vigil, he contemplates the paradox of his existence. Here he is, isolated from the warmth of community, yet deeply connected to the pulse of life beyond the horizon. His soul resonates with the crash of the waves and the whisper of the wind, forming a delicate balance between the call of duty and the longing for connection. And so, within the quiet sanctum of the lighthouse, the keeper embodies both the resilience of the storm and the fragile beauty of a solitary heart. His life is a testament to the idea that even in the depths of isolation, one can find purpose and meaning by tending to a light that does more than merely cut through the darkness. It guides lost souls and anchors wandering hearts to a shared sense of hope. In his solitude, he discovers that every flicker of the flame is not a signal of loneliness, but a beacon of silent communion between the vast, unforgiving sea and the tender, enduring spirit of humanity. In the nearby village, the soft glow of the lantern in the square invites the weary and the hopeful to gather and share the warmth of community. Imagine the narrow streets lit by this single beacon of light that stands as a silent promise of unity amid the encroaching darkness. The lantern is more than a mere object of illumination. It is a cherished symbol that binds the villagers together in moments of joy and sorrow. As dusk falls over the rugged landscape, the villagers emerge from their humble homes. Their faces reflect a mix of determination and gentle contentment as they head toward the square. In that central place, the lantern casts dancing shadows on the cobblestones, and the laughter of neighbors fills the cool air. Visualize the scene in slow motion as families, friends, and solitary wanderers converge on the square. There is a sense of belonging here that transcends the ordinary routines of daily life. The light from the lantern not only guides them physically through the darkness, but also serves as a reminder that even in times of uncertainty, there is a spark of hope to be shared. The air is filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and the soft murmur of conversation. In this gathering place, every face is familiar, and every gesture speaks of a deep-rooted connection to one another. Now consider how the villagers find solace in the simple act of coming together. They sit on worn wooden benches and lean against ancient stone walls that have witnessed generations pass by. The lantern's glow softens the harsh outlines of the world outside, transforming it into a realm where worries and fears are momentarily forgotten. The gentle clinking of a mug and the rustle of garments blend with the natural sounds of the night, forming a harmonious chorus that celebrates life and togetherness. In that shared space, the individual burdens become lighter, and the trials of the day are met with quiet strength. This scene is not just a fleeting moment of respite, but a declaration of the importance of community in a world often dominated by isolation and struggle. The villagers share stories of old traditions and new hopes. They speak of legends that were passed down from one generation to the next, and of small miracles that have brightened the darkest of nights. Their voices create a tapestry of sound that is both soothing and invigorating. There is an undeniable magic in the way that the simple light of the lantern brings people together. As the night deepens, the villagers linger in the square, letting the glow of the lantern warm their hearts and inspire their dreams. It is here that they rediscover the beauty of connection and the strength that comes from sharing life's journey with others. Their eyes are lifted toward the heavens, as if to acknowledge that the same stars shining above also watch over their gathering. The lantern in the square stands as a testament to the idea that even the smallest light can dissolve the darkness, and that every individual is an essential part of a larger story. In this peaceful communion, the villagers are reminded that they are not alone in their struggles or their celebrations. The humble lantern carries the collective memories and aspirations of the community, a quiet guardian that nurtures the fragile balance between solitude and togetherness. Its steady glow is a symbol of the enduring spirit that binds them as one, even in the face of the relentless storms that rage beyond their borders. As the scene gradually fades, the viewer is left with the warmth of a shared smile and the gentle promise that no matter how harsh the night may seem, there will always be a light to guide the way home. In that quiet moment, the villagers and their beloved lantern embody the timeless truth that hope thrives in the heart of community. As the night deepens and the winds grow fiercer, tension begins to ripple through the darkened skies and restless sea. Envision a sudden escalation in nature's fury, where the storm gathers with an almost tangible intensity. The clouds roll in thick and heavy like dark omens, and the wind sings a wild, untamed melody that stirs both awe and unease. The crashing waves become louder and more insistent, their relentless pounding on the rocky shore echoing the inner turmoil of the lone keeper as he prepares for another night of solitary vigilance. Picture the lighthouse standing steadfast against this mounting tempest. The keeper, aware of the impending danger, moves with a determined calm that belies the storm raging outside. His hands, calloused by years of weathering nature's wrath, adjust the intricate mechanisms that have long ensured the steady glow of the beacon. Every flicker of the light takes on a new urgency as it battles against the overwhelming dark, a quiet struggle that mirrors the inner conflict of a man torn between duty and a growing sense of isolation. Now imagine the village itself feeling the effects of the approaching storm. In the square, the lantern sways ever so slightly as the wind weaves through narrow alleyways and over cobblestones. The villagers, though they find comfort in its gentle radiance, cannot help but feel a stirring of apprehension. They huddle together beneath low-hanging eaves and ancient stone arches, their eyes occasionally darting upward to the turbulent heavens, as if silently questioning whether the light that unites them will continue to shine through the night. The storm brings with it not only a physical upheaval, but also a metaphorical one. It is as though the relentless forces of nature are calling for a reckoning, urging the keeper to confront the truth of his solitude and the impact of his self-imposed isolation. The wind roars like the voice of forgotten ancestors, and the rain taps a relentless rhythm on the weathered walls of the lighthouse and the humble cottages of the village. In this moment, the storm serves as a mirror, reflecting the keeper's internal battle between a life dedicated solely to duty and the longing for connection that quietly stirs beneath his hardened exterior. Within this tempest, every sound becomes magnified and every movement charged with meaning. The howl of the wind and the hiss of the rain mingle with the soft creaks of the ancient structure as it strains against the assault of the elements. The keeper pauses in his work, his heart pounding in time with the crashing waves, and for a brief moment, he contemplates the price of his isolation. The storm, with its relentless energy, seems to whisper a question into the night. Is the light meant solely to serve his solitary purpose, or is it destined to be a beacon for all those seeking refuge in the darkness? The scene is set with the raw power of nature as both a force of destruction and a catalyst for change. It is a moment of reckoning that stirs something deep within the keeper. As the storm reaches its zenith, the boundaries between duty and desire blur. The elements conspire to create an atmosphere where every gust of wind, every drop of rain, carries the possibility of transformation. Here, in the heart of the raging tempest, the keeper is forced to confront the solitude that has defined his life and the untapped potential of the light he so diligently guards. In this charged environment, the storm is not merely a backdrop, but an active participant in the unfolding drama. It challenges the status quo and demands that both the keeper and the villagers acknowledge the profound power of nature to bring about change. As the winds whip the sea into a frothing frenzy and the rain blankets the land with a shimmering veil, the stage is set for a revelation that promises to redefine the keeper's destiny and the meaning of the light that binds them all. Amid the swirling chaos of the storm, a figure appears on the rain-lashed shore, a shipwrecked sailor, drenched and trembling, yet alive with a fierce determination to survive. Imagine him stumbling through the tempest, his clothes torn by the merciless wind, and his eyes filled with both terror and a glimmer of hope. He clutches a piece of driftwood, as if it were a lifeline, while the roaring waves and piercing rain create a symphony of despair and resilience. Envision the moment when the sailor, driven by instinct and the will to live, makes his way toward the distant light of the lighthouse. Every step is a battle against the fury of nature as he fights to overcome the relentless assault of wind and water. His heart pounds with the rhythm of the crashing waves and the thudding of his own blood, each beat a prayer for salvation. The shipwreck has left him battered and bruised, yet his spirit remains unbroken, a testament to the indomitable human will that finds courage even in the darkest hours. Imagine the sailor reaching the base of the lighthouse, where the wind still howls and the rain pelts his face like a cold shower of reality. He collapses onto the wet sand, gasping for breath, and as he looks upward, the steady beam of the lighthouse cuts through the gloom with a comforting constancy. His eyes, filled with gratitude and relief, meet the light as if in silent communion. There is a moment of profound stillness when the chaos of the storm seems to pause, and the sailor senses that he is no longer alone. As the sailor is gently guided by the relentless glow toward safety, his battered form becomes a symbol of hope emerging from despair. Every step toward the light is a testament to resilience, a silent ode to the strength that lies within even the most fragile of hearts. The sailor's journey in the storm is not merely about surviving nature's fury. It is about rediscovering the meaning of life and the healing power of a guiding beacon. In that charged moment, as the light embraces him, the sailor's gratitude radiates like the very beam that has led him to refuge. His eyes, still wide with wonder, reflect the promise of new beginnings and the understanding that every hardship carries the seed of redemption. The shipwreck, the storm, and the solitude of the sea all converge into a single, transformative experience where the sailor finds solace in the gentle reminder that even in the most turbulent nights, there is a light that calls to those who dare to dream of safety and belonging. In the quiet aftermath of the storm, the keeper meets the wounded sailor inside the warm confines of the lighthouse. Envision a scene where the keeper, his eyes still reflecting the fury of the tempest, finds himself unexpectedly moved by the sailor's vulnerable state. The lighthouse now seems less like an isolated sentinel and more like a haven where disparate lives converge in the search for solace. The keeper listens with a quiet intensity as the sailor recounts his harrowing journey through the raging sea. His words, laden with both pain and gratitude, begin to erode the hard edges of the keeper's long-held isolation. Imagine the keeper gently tending to the sailor's wounds while the rhythmic sound of rain against the ancient glass and the soft hum of the wind outside form a backdrop of intimate empathy. The keeper's practiced hands, which have weathered countless storms and endless nights of duty, now offer tender care as he wraps bandages around the sailor's arms. There is a fragile connection emerging between them, a silent acknowledgement that the keeper's light does more than guide ships safely home. It reaches into the very heart of despair and offers a chance for renewal. Picture the conversation deep into the long, thoughtful hours of the night. The sailor speaks of distant lands and lost comrades, and the keeper listens intently as memories of his own solitude stir in the quiet. Their words blend with the natural cadence of the storm as the keeper slowly begins to understand that his duty is not a burden to bear alone, but a calling that intertwines his fate with the lives of those who seek refuge in the darkness. The gentle glow of the lighthouse illuminates not only the rugged walls, but also the tender, unfolding dialogue between two souls brought together by destiny. In this profound exchange, the keeper finds himself questioning the long-held belief that isolation is the price of duty. The sailor's gratitude and resilience offer him a glimpse of a life where connection can be as sustaining as the steady beam of light he tends. The room is filled with an unspoken promise that the lighthouse is not merely a tool for navigating treacherous waters, but a beacon that fosters hope and communal healing. Here, in the soft interplay of shadow and light, the keeper contemplates a future where his vigil is shared by a community of kindred spirits, each touched by the transformative power of compassion and understanding. As the night deepens further, the conversation mellows into a reflective silence. The keeper, now with a heart subtly shifted by the sailor's presence, gazes out toward the turbulent sea and the faraway village where the lantern still burns with quiet determination. In that moment, he realizes that the true purpose of his solitary duty is not to shield himself from the world, but to offer a guiding light to those in need. The lighthouse becomes a living symbol of the potential for renewal that lies in every human connection, a gentle reminder that even the darkest nights are made bearable by the warmth of shared compassion. Morning comes gently, carried on the scent of salt and heather, with pale sunlight breaking through remnants of the storm. The keeper, who once greeted each dawn with the same routine silence, now watches it with changed eyes. The sailor sleeps, curled like a question at the hearth, and the lighthouse feels fuller somehow. Not just a tower of stone and fire, but a place where something human stirred. As the gulls cry overhead and the waves soften against the rocks, the keeper steps outside, his oilskin coat pulled close, the sea wind tugging at his hair like a child, asking him to look, really look, at the world again. He walks the familiar cliff path, the same one he'd paced countless times before, always with his back to the village. But today, for reasons he does not name, he turns toward it. Smoke rises from chimneys, the roofs are damp and glistening, and in the center, barely visible through the trees and morning mist, he sees it. The lantern, hung square in the village green, still burning. A smaller flame than his, yes, but a flame lit for him, or rather, because of him. For all those nights, the beam of his lighthouse turned steadily across the Black Sea. Someone had been watching, someone had noticed, and answered. He stands there a while, eyes resting on the distant shape of the lantern. Its glow is faint against the rising sun, but it pulses with a quiet, defiant hope. In that moment, he feels a strange inversion of light, like the village is guiding him home. A warmth rises in his chest, not the brittle heat of pride, but something humbler. The sailor's words echo faintly. You kept the light on, and now, perhaps, it's time to let it shine closer to shore. Returning to the lighthouse, he prepares a small breakfast, shares it with the sailor, and speaks more than he has in weeks. They talk of small things, easy things, fish markets, a crooked tree near the cliffs, the way the sun always finds its way through the smallest crack in the clouds. The keeper laughs once, and it surprises them both. He asks the sailor to stay a little longer, not out of duty, but because the company feels right, feels needed. In their shared silence after the meal, there is peace, a mutual understanding that neither will ever be quite the same. And then, in a gesture that costs him nothing but once would have cost him everything, the keeper picks up his coat again. This time he heads inland, toward the village, not out of guilt, not out of obligation, but because he wants to see the lantern up close, to understand what it means to be seen. The path is unfamiliar in this direction, but he walks it anyway, each step a quiet surrender to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, light belongs where it can be shared. The village does not greet him with fanfare. There are no crowds or celebrations, just the everyday rhythm of life. A dog trots past, chasing its own shadow. A baker dusts flour from his hands onto his apron. Children run, their boots splashing through puddles left by the storm. No one stares. No one asks why he has come. And somehow, that quiet acceptance is what softens him the most. He walks through the square slowly, unsure if his presence is welcome or simply tolerated. But then he sees it again, the lantern. Hung from a crooked iron hook, it sways gently in the breeze, the glass smudged from sea spray, its flame dancing but steady. He approaches it without knowing what to say, if anything needs to be said. And standing there, beneath its glow, he realizes the truth he had fought against for so long. This light was not a mirror of his own. It was an answer, a response, a gesture made not out of admiration, but out of kinship. An old woman tending to a garden nearby looks up and gives him a small nod. Not the kind that demands conversation, but the kind that says, I see you. We see you. You've always been here, even when you weren't. He nods back. And for the first time in years, he feels a part of something he cannot name. The flame flickers between them, like a silent vow. He spends the afternoon wandering, not out of aimlessness, but out of new curiosity. He buys bread, awkwardly accepts a cup of tea from someone who remembers his name, and listens to the slow music of village life. Stories are told, some involving him, the man in the tower who never came down, and they laugh, not cruelly, but fondly, as if he were a myth made flesh again. Evening falls gently, with the sea wind brushing the rooftops and shadows lengthening like stretched fabric. He begins the walk back to the lighthouse, a loaf of bread under his arm, his pockets filled with small offerings, a polished stone from a child, a folded note he hasn't yet opened, a warmth that clings to him even after the village fades behind the hill. The lantern in the village still burns as he looks back. Its flame, once a mystery, now feels like a thread, a connection, not just between him and the villagers, but between solitude and belonging, between duty and love, between the keeper and the kept. That night, back in the tower, the walls no longer feel like stone. The storm has long passed, leaving behind a calm that is more than weather. He climbs the familiar steps to the lantern room, each one echoing less like a sentence and more like a return. The light within the tower is strong, as it always has been, cutting across the sea in precise, measured rotations. But now, he understands it not as a warning, but as a welcome. Not a wall to hold back the world, but a hand extended into the dark. He tends the flame with a quiet reverence, the way one might water a plant left too long alone. Every part of his ritual feels different now. The wicks hiss as it catches, the gentle clink of the glass door, the sweep of his sleeve brushing dust from brass. These were once habits to silence thought. Now they are gestures of care, acts of participation. He is not watching the sea to keep it at bay. He is watching it for those who might come, for those who might need him. He sets the logbook down without writing in it. Some nights need no record. Some truths are not measured in ink. He steps out onto the small balcony, letting the cold air remind him he is alive. Far below, the water rolls in gentle waves. Beyond that, the dark horizon stretches wide and open, but it does not frighten him. He sees, in his mind's eye, the lantern in the village square, still burning, not as a copy of his own, but as its answer, a reply spoken in light. That image stays with him, glows within him, as if the tower has opened up and the village light now lives inside it too. And then he does something strange. He lifts the lantern from its place in the tower, carries it carefully down the steps, and sets it just outside the door, still protected, still high enough to be seen by ships, but closer now, nearer to the world, no longer hidden behind glass and height. He sits beside it for a long time, on a rough stone bench, staring out at the dark with a calm he does not need to earn. The sea is quiet, the flame holds steady, and he knows, at last, that his light was never just his. It never could be. Morning comes slow on the coast, not with color, but with quiet. The sea does not announce it. The gulls, for once, wait. And the keeper, already awake, does not reach for his coat or climb the steps to check the lantern. He knows it is still burning, that it has done its work. He walks instead toward the village. The path is familiar in the way old quarrels are familiar. He remembers each bend, each stone he once kicked aside. But today he notices other things. A small red scarf caught in a branch. A child's footprint preserved in soft earth. The outline of someone's laughter still suspended in the air like mist. He walks slower than he ever has. When he reaches the square, it is empty, but not lifeless. The lantern stands where it was left, gently swaying on its hook, still lit, still warm. And though no one is watching, it feels as if the entire village breathes with it. He does not touch it. He does not need to. Its flame is steady, its message clear. He sits on the edge of the well and listens, to the creak of shutters opening one by one, to the soft pad of feet on stone, to the sound of the world waking up around him, not as an intrusion, but as invitation. Someone waves from a doorway. He nods, not out of politeness, but with something deeper, a recognition, a return. Later, they will speak, over tea and rough bread. They will laugh softly at the way the storm passed, at the way the sea takes and gives back, at how strange it is that a man might live so close and yet so far. But for now, the silence is enough. Not the silence of solitude, but of shared presence. In time, they will know him not just as the man in the tower, but as something else. A neighbor, a witness, a bearer of light who finally stepped into the circle it cast. And when storms come again, as they will, his light will still shine. From the tower, yes, but also from windows and hands and stories passed down around fires. Because the purpose of light, he has learned, is not simply to be seen. It is to be shared.